Hey y'all, welcome back to Leadership Rewired. I am Dr. Vanessa R. Brooks, and if this is your first time here, welcome to our growing community. Listen, I'm excited. Despise not small beginnings. We are at about 180 subscribers right now, and we are on a mission to close the racial wealth gap by helping professional women, especially those coming from ministry backgrounds, nonprofit, healthcare, and education, build consulting businesses that actually pay them what they are worth. So if that is you, welcome to Leadership Rewired. Go ahead and subscribe right now so that you can stay notified when we post new content. So today we're talking about something that has kept me stuck for years in my business. And I know it's keeping some of you stuck right now as well. So the question is, how do I lead my business like a CEO, like a chief executive officer, when I was literally trained to be a servant? If you're like me and you came from ministry, if you were a pastor or a ministry or a church leader or a nonprofit director, a social worker, a therapist, a teacher, any helping profession, you were likely taught that servant leadership is the highest form of leadership. And if you're like me, you believed it, you internalized it, and you built your entire professional identity around it, because God knows I did, y'all. But here is what nobody is talking about. Here's what nobody told you. Servant leadership in a hierarchical organization where you're the employee, where you're employed, is not the same as CEO leadership in a business you own. So if you were trained in ministry or helping professions, you were likely neurologically conditioned with a very specific set of beliefs. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Business Ethics found that people in helping professions, ministry, social work, nonprofit leadership, healthcare, develop what's called self-sacrificial schema. Now, that's a fancy way of saying your brain learned that your value is tied to your sacrifice. See, every time you served without asking for anything in return, your brain released oxytocin. That's the bonding hormone. So you felt good. You felt purposeful. You felt needed. And every time you thought about compensation, your brain flagged it as a threat to your entire identity. The research shows that this creates cognitive dissonance. See, you literally cannot hold two opposing beliefs at the same time. Like, I'm a good person and I charge premium prices. If your brain feels threatened by those two opposing beliefs, your brain is going to make you choose. And if you were raised in church, if you were raised in ministry, if you were raised in service, your brain likely chose sacrifice. So now you're out here in these streets trying to build a consulting business, and every time you try to charge what you're worth, your nervous system goes into crisis mode. Ask me how I know. So you likely think that this is a confidence problem, but let me tell you, I'm almost sure that you do not have a confidence problem. What you do have is a neural wiring problem. And neural wiring doesn't change because you read an affirmation or because you watch a motivational video. Now here's where it gets real, y'all. You see, when you transition from ministry or nonprofit into consulting, you're not just changing jobs, you're changing identities. In ministry, or in nonprofit or any kind of service work, any type of helping profession work, you were likely taught that leadership equals things like washing feet, doing for others without expecting anything in return. You were taught that authority equaled humility, or that success was measured by how many people you served for free. And money was worldly, ungodly, a distraction from your calling. So when you try to start a business, your brain literally doesn't have a category for CEO. A study from Harvard Business Review in 2021 found that women in particular, especially women from helping professions, experience what they call role incongruence. Now that means that your internal identity, like servant, helper, support, doesn't match your external role, such as business owner, CEO, authority, right? And when there's incongruence, your brain tries to resolve it by reverting back to what feels safe, what feels familiar. And that's why you undercharge, because charging feels like betraying your values. That's why you over-deliver, because you feel guilty for getting paid. And that's why you avoid visibility, because you believe that being seen feels like pride. And that's why you can't make decisions without consensus, because authority feels dangerous to you. Listen, you're not failing at business. You're succeeding at servant conditioning. Your brain is doing exactly what it was trained to do. And the problem is that training will keep you baroque. So how do you shift from servant to CEO? Here's what I had to learn the hard way. And I don't want you to have to learn it the hard way, so I'm going to share it with you right now, okay? This is where people tend to get it twisted too. See, you don't have to become cold, ruthless, or self-centered to lead like a CEO. You don't have to lose those values. That is intrinsically who you are. But what you do have to do is recognize that stewardship looks different when you own the business. See, in ministry, stewardship meant sacrifice yourself so others can be served. But in business, stewardship means resource yourself so you can sustain the service. Listen, a burnt out CEO can't serve anyone. A broke consultant can't transform lives long term. Charging appropriately isn't greed. It is sustainability. So research from Stanford Social Innovation Review shows that nonprofits and mission-driven businesses that underprice their services have a 60% higher burnout rate and a 40% higher closure rate within 5 years. You can't save the world if you can't pay your bills. Second, you have to rewire the belief that making money equals losing your mission. Here's the truth that took me years to accept. Money is a tool for mission expansion. Money is not evidence of mission compromise. Not at all. See, when I was a pastor and volunteering my pastoral services and making zero income, and when I was only making $32,000 a year as a social services professional, do you know how many people I actually was able to help? Only the ones in my immediate circle. That's it. But now that I run a successful six-figure consulting business, I've reached nearly 100,000 people. I've trained leaders across the country and even globally. I've helped credentialed women build businesses that allow them to serve without burning out. My mission didn't shrink when I started charging. In fact, my mission expanded. But I had to rewire the brain pathway that said money equals being worldly. And that brain rewiring doesn't happen by accident. You have to do it intentionally. You have to be intentional about disrupting those brain patterns. Number 3, you have to start making decisions like an owner, like a CEO, not an employee. And this, by far, may be the hardest shift for you. In ministry and nonprofit, you were trained to seek consensus, to get buy-in, to make sure everyone was comfortable before you moved or before you made a decision. Now that works when you're part of a team and someone else owns the vision. But when you are the CEO, consensus seeking will kill your momentum and your revenue. A study in entrepreneurship theory and practice found that founders who wait for external validation before making decisions take 3 times longer to scale their businesses and have 50% lower revenue in the first 3 years of their business. Listen, you can't lead like a CEO if you're still asking permission. You can't build a six-figure business if you need everyone to approve your pricing or to approve every decision that you need to make. You can't scale if you're managing everyone's comfort. CEO leadership means I make the decisions, I own the outcome, I trust myself. Not because I'm arrogant, but because I'm the owner. Okay, so how do you actually do this? Here are 3 practices that help me make the shift. So practice 1, audit your language. I want you to go through your website, your bio, your Instagram, all your social media. And every time you see the word or you see concepts around help, ask yourself, is this the servant language or is this CEO language? Now, this is going to be difficult for your nervous system to adjust to. Listen to me. Servants help. CEOs solve, transform, architect, diagnose, and build. Change your language and it will rewire your identity. Practice number 2. I want you this week to set one boundary without explanation. You see, servants over-explain. CEOs state and move on. For example, in your servant helper mentality, you say things like, I'm so sorry. I know this is inconvenient, but I can't do that project for free because I have bills, and on and on and on it goes. But a CEO would say, that's outside the scope of our agreement. See, just one sentence, no apology, no explanation. Practice it until it feels normal, okay? Practice number 3. Make one decision this week without asking for anyone's approval or consensus. Not your spouse, not your mentor, not your prayer partner, not your accountability partner. Decide something about your business and own it. Your brain needs evidence that you can decide without external validation. Every time you do this, you're rewiring the pathways in your brain from I need permission to I am the authority. Listen, if you're watching this and thinking, I don't know if I can do this, I get it. I've been there. I was you. I spent 14 years in pastoral ministry, another 15 years as a social services professional. I was the person who gave away my expertise for free or for low wages because I thought that's what faithfulness looked like. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And I was broke, burnt out, and resentful. And it wasn't until I understood the neuroscience of what was happening, how my brain was wired for self-sacrifice, that I could finally shift. If that's you and you want to go deeper on this, I'm hosting a free masterclass this Saturday called Lead Like a CEO, the Executive Neuro Leader Shift. And I'm breaking down the exact framework I use to help credentialed women like you make this identity shift. And I'll be introducing the leadership and performance diagnostic that measures your specific blocks so you can finally see what's actually stopping you from succeeding in your consulting business. The registration link is in the description box below. It is absolutely free, but you have to register to attend. Now do me a favor. If this video helped you out in any way, please be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell me what helped you. What were the insights that you gained? And then share this video with another woman who's stuck between servant and CEO, who's trying to also build her consulting company. So listen, thanks for being here, and I'll see you the next time.